Fede Alvarez, I love you, dude. Alien Romulus has finally dropped, and it's taken me a few days to actually get this review out, and that is purely because I wanted everyone to go and see this movie for themselves, purely because I fully believe this could be the resurgence of the Xenomorph character, and I am so happy that we got the movie we just got, because Alien Romulus might be one of my favorites in the entire franchise. It's currently sitting as my third favorite, just behind the original and Aliens. I love the Alien movies so much so I was actually really annoyed the fact that Covenant wasn't as enjoyable as I would have thought, and also it was actually kind of scary for me because in my theater in Ireland, Alien Romulus is sitting at a PG-13 rating, and I all did think that the series would benefit from a rated R, obviously, because of the Xenomorph, you know, the kills. The Xenomorph is not the most friendly person in the world, so let's be real. Giving the full ability to give them full reign, and especially with the face huggers, I was kind of scared going into this film, especially judging on the fact that the theater gave it a PG-13 rating. However, I was very pleasantly surprised that everywhere else it's apparently rated R, so yeah, it was a bit weird. But thankfully, this is by far the resurgence of the Alien franchise. Fede Alvarez was always going to deliver because, let's be real, he done it with Evil Dead. He can do it with Alien. So now it's finally time to just give him Nightmare on Elm Street. Please, give him Nightmare on Elm Street. Because that man has some ability to just create horrifying natures. The ambience and overall surroundings of Alien Romulus is bringing it back to the originals. Honestly, in my opinion, the way they create the set of this film, this abandoned space station, obviously called Romulus, and its brother location with a different name, I think it's Ramus, I think it's called. And there's two separate stations basically put into one. But the thing that goes down in this film, and I'm not going to mention it, well, I'm not going to go into spoilers in other words, but the last 30 minutes of this film, what the hell was that? To put it into perspective of people who haven't seen this film yet, I'm going to basically explain that you go through the majority of this runtime expecting, okay, we have Xenomorphs, face huggers, you know, it goes from there. But then it seems like the movie's coming to a close, and then it just ramps back up again, and something hits the fan that you will never expect. That's all I'm gonna say. If you've seen the film, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For me, Alien Romulus is by far top 5 of the year so far. It was probably one of the most enjoyable experiences I've had in the cinema. I have to admit, I just love the Xenomorph as a character. I mean, I have the Funko Pop. I love everything about the Xenomorphs, and I have to say, there's one thing that I did not expect with Alien Romulus, and that is the face huggers being scarier than the Xenomorphs. Literally, the face huggers are more of a threat in this film than the actual Xenomorphs. You see the face huggers much more than the Xenomorphs. Obviously, the Xenomorph is the one we're all waiting for and everything like that, but the face huggers, when you hear the little patters of them running, oh my god, it's terrifying, dude. Because the sound design in this film is also something to be mesmerized by, judging on the fact that it goes silent at least 4 or 5 times in this film, and I mean completely silent, like as in you're in space when you're not in space, complete silent, and then it's broken by a really loud sting, and it's crazy. I have to say, this film is so enjoyable. It is the definition of a really good film along with a popcorn film. This is one of the best I've seen this year, and I know I've said that about a lot of horror films this year, but it's just on my personal tastes. It was a really entertaining film. Would it be in my top 3? No, but that's just my own personal taste on other films I've seen so far this year. Would it be top 5? Absolutely. It's probably my 5th of the year so far. I've seen a lot of people say it's their top 1 of the year so far, and that's completely respectable. But for me, I think it's just sitting at maybe about 5th right now, because personally, I did enjoy Late Night with the Devil a little bit more, and so there's other films like that, like Long Legs and stuff like that, I just enjoyed that tiny bit more. But Alien Romulus is one of those films where you are just happy that it existed, because it really does show that we can go back to the roots, and it's really happy that, like, we're seeing Alien go back to its original roots. We saw Predator go back to its original roots with Prey, and it's really good because we're now starting to realize that the Predator films and Alien films are not meant to be action films. When they are horror films, I know Predator can be more of an action film, by the way, but specifically with Alien, when they are not action films and pure horror films, they are better when they are pure horror films. Everyone agrees at this stage. Now, I'm gonna say this, there's a lot of people going around that it's honestly really mixed. It's either you love this film or you absolutely hate it. I am much more on the love side, to be honest. I don't really understand why people would hate this film. The one thing I would expect people that not liking is some of the callback lines. I'm not gonna mention what ones, but there is some specific lines that are said in this film that happen in one of the original films, which doesn't canonically make sense. If you've seen the film, you know exactly what I mean, but the saying is very similar to what would have been said in the original films, which doesn't really make sense to me. It doesn't fit the scene, and ultimately it is kind of just like a callback to one of the original films, but it doesn't, in my opinion, suit the scene it's in very well. And there is a lot of, nostalgia for those who are huge fans of the original. Like, for example, this is not a spoiler or anything, but when you see it in the trailer, it's very obvious. We have the bar sign from one of the originals, so there's a lot of things in there that is thrown in by Fede Alvarez in the set to actually show that, those people who love the original films will catch them little things, and it's really, really cool. There's obviously one really, really big thing calling back to one of the original films. Not going to mention what it is for obvious reasons, but if you've seen the film, you'll probably know what I'm talking about, which is a really weird direction to take the film when it comes to a sort of villain character. So it's really, really weird when it comes to that, but it's almost like the xenomorph itself is sidelined a little bit. I mean, the xenomorph is not in the film like the entire time, and that's kind of similar to how it is in the original. I mean, the original Alien is basically a slasher film, so it's really, really cool. But for me, it is really interesting how they prioritized the face huggers in this film. I really like how they done that. It was a change of pace, because when you look at the likes of Covenant specifically, we have millions and millions of xenomorphs running around at that stage, and it's almost like an action film. But when it comes to the face huggers and the xenomorphs we do get in this film, it's really, really entertaining. Ultimately, this is by far one of the most entertaining experiences I've had in the cinema so far. I would highly recommend going to see this film because it's amazing. There is one specific character that just annoyed me in this film. If you know what I'm talking about, you'll know exactly who it is. But honestly, other than that character, I did enjoy this film. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts of Alien Romulus in the comments below. I'd love to see what your thoughts are, because I'm hearing a lot of mixed thoughts on Letterboxd and Twitter. There's literally a 50-50 divide with what I've seen. So definitely let me know in the comments below what you think of it. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, have the most amazing day. Subscribe for anything to do with horror content, horror news, analog horror videos, any sort of like that, and analysis videos. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'd really, really appreciate it. And of course, stay safe and peace. First shot of this episode, Tammy picks this house.
Oh, what about that one?
Now, if you ask me, that is the, worst house you can pick. It has wallpaper on the outside.